And we are back, and we are shifting our discussion a little bit, still on the health topic, but we are moving from a little bit more of the emotional side to the actual physical side. And we are joined by Javier Canul, who is an emergency medical technician and the co-owner of ABC Life Support Belize. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here as always.
You look a little bit familiar. All right, Javier. I always like when you shift to your serious role. We got the clowning, Mr. Ozzy.
That's right.
And then when we talk about emergency medical services, then you know you're talking to Javier, because then things get real serious.
Actually, it complements each other in terms of when I'm teaching, there is always room for fun.
Yeah.
So I teach with a lot of fun and a lot of thing going on. But when it's time to be serious, I'm serious, like you rightly said.
Yeah, because it is a serious topic.
That's right.
Now, you have ABC Life Support, which is a it's an EMT training, CPR training, sorry.
Actually, it specializes in, it has been created to teach the general public in what we call pre-hospital care.
Okay.
By that we mean any care that can be given to the patient outside of the hospital until the ambulance comes.
Okay.
So I link basically I teach people to be the first link in the chain to survival.
So it's like first aid training.
And it goes all the way up on, I teach cardiac rhythms, how to read cardiac rhythms. I teach how to assess a patient in advanced cardiac life support and the treatment you can give. Yeah,
okay.
I do what you call pre-workshop to the actual certification course.
Okay, and so you started this business along with your sons?
Actually, interestingly, I started out along with my spouse, Andrea, and we came up with the idea and said, well, we need to do something to help people because there are a lot of people who do not understand the concept of pre-hospital care. I remember working at birth when the ambulance would go to schools, nobody know what to do. The ambulance get there, they don't know where to go, and when we get there, the patient is right there, nobody's doing anything. So we came up with a principle and idea that says, like, we want people to know what's going on, we want to help them, we want to help them to get their protocols together, so when anybody get hurt, they will know what to do.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, well, thank goodness, I'm blessed with 4 sons, of which 2 are medical officers, doctors, and they actually oversee all the protocols for ABC Life Support in terms of all the training purposes. They review all the documents to make sure before I get out there, they're overseeing and they have make sure that it's right. Yeah. I'm also assisted by one of my favorite doctors. I love Dr. Coyer as well, but he's a little out of the picture right now, and I'm assisted also by Dr. Hidalgo, who is one of my biggest advocates. He actually, if a patient needs to go to Merida, or if they need to go anywhere out of Belize, he would be contacting me so that I can take them out as an experienced medical provider.
Yeah, yeah. So what you are saying is that there's a lot that can be done between the recognition of an emergency situation and the arrival of emergency medical care.
That is right.
Okay.
And that is lacking a whole lot in Belize.
Well.
And the system itself is very weak, but I'm trying to make sure that we build with a good foundation because we don't want to be here and we lack the foundation. That's where and this is where we're at right now. We're lacking the foundation a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And so 2 things usually happens. One, you said very clearly, like people just kind of leave the person and wait for help. But then the other one is that they move them. How do you know, and that's a critical point.
That's a critical point.
How do you know when I should move the person versus wait for care?
Okay, and it's a very interesting question, and it's a touchy little topic. But basically, I'd advise anybody if when to move somebody versus not to move.
Yeah.
First of all, if you're trained to move them, go ahead, and you have the right equipment. If you're not trained, and unless it's a life and death situation, then you want to move them. Yeah. Making sure. Well, basically, for me, it's best always to have somebody alive, and the loved one can see them another day alive, versus not seeing them any at all.
Okay.
If you move them and you're not trained, you can create more problems for them. They will be a paraplegic. They can be a paraplegic. You could hurt them and create more injury, or you can even kill them. Yeah. So it's best that if you don't know what to do, leave them. The only time you want to move them if it's a life or death situation.
So the main issue here is really several things, but one can be like broken bones you have inside. Moving them may cause more injuries.
Right.
Sever,
broken ribs can puncture lungs, can puncture a heart.
So you can create injuries by moving an injured person rather than just waiting for someone to guide you through what to do next.
That's right.
But I will move them if they are, let's say, in danger of traffic that's coming or a fire that's spreading.
That's right.
or a car that might explode.
Correctly so.
Okay.
But then there's ways that even you know, without, let's say, you know, you don't have to be a doctor or something to do it. So that's what we're really.
Well, we need to get training, and if you and my dream has always been, and I have always advocated for this, that every single person in this country should learn basic first aid, or even CPR, and it's across the board. It's so easy that we can help each other. And most of the time, these things happen in our homes, especially CPR. I've never recalled going on the street to take care of a patient who has a cardiac arrest. It's always in their homes, and normally it's in the bathroom, and that's when it happens the most. And so people who are at home needs to be able to know what to do to help their loved ones. I've heard so many stories where loved ones says, "Mama had this pain in my chest, I never know what to do," and as a result, they blame themselves for the rest of their lives. So we don't want that to happen. So this is why we're here today. To talk a little bit about
So because
CPR.
this is clearly just television lessons, we're going with just the basics. There's
That's
a
right.
lot more in-depth information that you can offer to people, but we're doing like what you can do in the very immediate situation without harming and hopefully helping.
That's right.
Yeah.
So today we want to talk about CPR, and it's the basic skill for anybody. And American Heart in 2000, what year are we in? Oh, 2012, they're about embarked on a program called Hands Only CPR. And that Hands Only CPR is because if we see a dirty, old-looking guy on the street, and we want to say we're working class, but we don't want to put our mouths on anybody. We say, well, we can at least start chest compressions. And American Heart Association also say, and I quote American Heart because I was an American Heart instructor, and I have it down in my hand until they change. They will be changing sometime in 2020 this year. What they're saying is that when somebody collapses, there is always oxygen within the body for about 2 to 4 minutes. So you have 2 to 4 minutes to start chest compression. But across the line, you must always make sure that there is scene safety, meaning that you come first. If the scene is not safe, you don't go. It has to be safe. If not, you will become a second casualty, which will create more problems. So after that, let's rule that aside that we've checked scene safety.
All right, so nothing is coming.
Nothing is coming. We're here. So the first, if you're by yourself, what is one of the things that we always have on us all the time?
Cell phone.
A cellular phone. A cellular phone. I'm sorry, the Aussie is trying to come out. Stay where you are, buddy. And most of the time, when we have a cellular phone, we can dial the emergency number. Now in Belize, we say dial 911. Guys, I want to encourage you. If you know the the number for the ambulance, call it. It is 223-3292. They will be the second link to the chain to survival. 223-3292 is the number for the ambulance. You need to get them.
Save it under your phone, save it under a favorite contact so you don't have to look it up.
Anywhere, even if you can't.
Stick it on the refrigerator, put it on your phone, automatic dial, whatever it may be.
Just very quickly, why do you give that advice? Well, 911 is still an option, but it's better if you call the ambulance direct.
Well, there is still some problems with 911 that needs to be worked out and ironed out perfectly. Right now, it's not working 100%. Forgive me if I'm touching anybody's toes, but it's the truth. But if you dial 223-3290, you get direct access to the ambulance service. And the guys there are trained to be able to take care of these kind of incidents. They come with all the equipment.
Talk you through.
They can help you. Two things when you dial that thing. You want to say where you are and what's going on. Because if you don't tell them where they are, where you are, you can't find you. Not say, are they by one lane? You have to give a reference point. You could say, I'm by where the old Napa building was. That's where I'm at. That's where I live.
Across from Mercy Clinic.
Across from Mercy Clinic. You need to give a reference so these people can know exactly in which area they're going to go. The second thing is you need to say what's going on. Because if you say what's going on, the guys will automatically know what's going on and they'll come prepared to take care of that. The dispatcher on the other end, hopefully, will guide you through a process as to what you can do. All right? But if the dispatcher doesn't guide you through, what you want to do is immediately we say, you don't check scene safety, you don't call for help. No, you need to take the hard part of your hand.
So this is for an unconscious person.
Unconscious person. I will get to a little technique right now. So this is for an unconscious person. But let me hold up a little bit because you're right. There are two emergencies for cardiac arrest. One is a cardiac arrest, which means that your heart is not pumping. And there is heart attack, which means that your heart is still beating, but the blood is not flowing directly. There's a valve cut off or something. So people say, my past survived a cardiac arrest. No. He survived a heart attack. All right? The heart attack is where they end up taking you to Buttonwood Bay Clinic and they put a stent in you, or they use fibrinolytic therapy, medications to break up the clot, whatever. So there's a difference. Heart attack is when your heart has a blockage in one of the coronary arteries and you need to get to the cardiology center, or one of these that we have, to get that fixed. Or a heart attack or a cardiac arrest is when the heart is not pumping anymore, so it's not pushing blood to the brain or any part of the body. Okay, so we need to settle on that. When you're having a cardiac arrest, it means that you're unconscious. So we're talking about cardiac arrest. Okay, so you want to take if they're conscious now, how would you know that the person is having it?
Well, I was going to say.
Because most people, and even people in the medical field have this problem, they don't know how to recognize that. When we breathe in and out. But when somebody is suffering from a cardiac arrest, an adult I'm talking about, they'll be breathing in, or they go like fish without out of water, they go, but they're not exhaling and inhaling again. So that is the biggest sign you want to look for. It's called gasping breath, gasping. Okay? If you recognize that, then you want to take the hard part of your hand immediately, and you want to put it in the center of the chest. Now, American heart would say on the lower half of the breastbone, but it's difficult to actually, in times of stress, you don't have time to think. This is just basic, just for the simple person. And I like to say, titi, chest, titi. Because everybody knows where a titi is. Everybody knows where the chest is.
And all of a sudden, all my cameramen are paying attention, right? Good morning to you too there.
All right, so if you say titi, chest, and I got this from a very good doctor friend of mine, and he's right on target. Anyway, when I remember his name.
But it's the language that we use.
That's
People
right.
will understand it more.
Okay, so
you're going for that space in between the breast.
The breast, that's right. So, and that's why we say titi, chest titi, not titi, navel titi, titi, chest titi. So you know exactly where to put your hand. The hard part of your hand, and that goes right in here. And whichever hand makes you comfortable, that's the one you want to use. For me, it's always my left, then my right. Okay?
So you want the stronger hand?
Well, normally it's the hand that makes you the most comfortable, or whichever you choose is. For me, like I say, it's not my strongest hand is my right hand.
Oh, you're right.
But my left hand,
this extension feels
that's
better
right,
with my left than it does with my right.
And I don't know why, but that's how it works.
It's maybe.
I want to encourage you as well. Always lock your fingers. Lock your fingers, because people do this, and when you do this, you end up rubbing your hand and peeling your hand, and hand slip off. And people do this. All right? But if you do this, it's locked. All right? Now, at this point, this is where I need to go down to the other mannequin there. Can we go over there?
Let's go.
Okay.
We're all mobile.
Now, here we have some nice pads and everything, but in the real world, there's no pads.
You're going to dig up your knees.
You got to get your knees bruised. I can show you my knees some scars, right? But we leave that alone. So you get down. Always make sure that the person nipple line runs directly in the center of your body.
Okay.
You put the hard part of your hand, this part, please, this part, titi, chest, titi, right there. You go over, and you want to be square over that patient. You don't want to be like this. If you're like this, you'll be pushing off the heart. If you're like this, you will be directly on top of the heart. And hands locked, and you go down directly, and you push down 2 inches in depth. How fast do we go? We go at a rate of 30 compressions within 18 seconds. Or people say 100 to 120 compressions within a minute. Or people say again,
so do you
can do it to the rhythm of staying alive, staying alive, staying alive, okay? Now, I encourage anybody who is doing CPR to always count and count loud. Why? If you call for help and that person comes in and hear you counting, they will know where you're at and what they can do to help you. But if you're there and you're pushing down and they don't hear nothing, they don't know what to do. So if I'm here pushing down and 28, 29, 30, and they come in 30, they automatically come and probably take over, start to do compression, and then the other person go to give.
Why is that number combination important?
Could you repeat the question?
Why the number, the number, specific number 30? Why is it that?
Okay, if it's one person, especially an adult and a teenager. All right, so this is hands-only CPR is only for adults and teenagers. It's not for babies. Because they suffer from a different complexity, different thing which we'll talk about. So if it's an adult, you need to give across the board is 30 compression and 2 breaths, because 30 compression is actually what helps to give enough oxygen to the brain. And you have 10 seconds in which to give 2 breaths and get back to the chest. So that 10 seconds is very important as well, because that oxygen is being within the system within 10 seconds feeding the brain. So getting back to the chest in time is very important. So you can't say 28, 29, 30, whoo, tired, whoo.
No, you have to start counting 10.
You need to go to that, give breaths immediately.
Yeah.
But,
you said
but remember,
hands
with
only.
hands-only CPR, and you're right. With hands-only CPR, we don't give breaths. So we just go up to a rate of 100 to 120 compressions per minute.
So after you hit that 30, you pause?
No.
Oh,
just go to a rate of 100 to 120
rate,
compressions per minute. And now, after you've done that, by that time, hopefully help will be coming. You have already called the ambulance, they will come, and the person who will come along will probably come with a bag, mask, and everything they need, along with the AED to revive the patient. One point I need to make clear is that doing CPR will not save a patient.
Yeah.
This is just
doing CPR is prolonging that life
exactly
until help comes along, and electric shock can be given and medication so that these patients can have a chance. But if you don't do it, the patient doesn't have a chance to survive. So just so that everybody knows that you cannot fix, you're not doing CPR to fix if they suffer from asthma or anything else, but you're doing it to prolong life with their heart, to keep it going.
Okay. So if I am pumping the chest and somewhere in that 120, it seems like they're breathing, should I stop?
Well, I'll be honest with you. It's difficult for an adult to, when you're doing CPR and they start to breathe, no, that's a no. They won't breathe.
Okay.
Because an adult will suffer from a cardiac problem.
Okay.
The chances of that person recovering or start to breathe, something like in the movies, is a no.
No, that doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
See, 'cause
They
that's
need
what
the
we
electric
see in the
shock
movies.
and they need drugs. But for a child, they have a better chance because they don't suffer from cardiac problems. They suffer from respiratory problems.
Yeah.
So then at that point, the child can survive.
Yeah.
Many times we've seen children in a pool. We take them out of the water, we start CPR, and we see them start to, and start to breathe. And that's a yes.
Okay.
All right, that's a yes, but not with an adult.
Okay.
Okay, but even if they start to breathe, you need to make sure that they get to the hospital.
If this was a drowning teen or adult, we do the same compression?
We do the same thing.
Okay.
Nothing changes.
Okay.
Nothing. So in the past, they used to say, roll them over, try to get out the water. No, if they're drowning, jump on the chest, just do CPR. Just do hands-only CPR. What you're doing is pushing water out of the stomach at the same time working on the heart.
Okay.
But if you take and roll them and try to push the stomach to push out the water, then you're not doing anything.
Body, right?
That's right.
Okay. So that you can stay alive.
That's right.
Okay.
And real quick, let's talk about choking, because I promised I was going to do that too.
Okay.
If somebody is choking, how would we know that the normal sign for choking is normally we'd see them looking pale around the mouth, or they'll be holding their throat and swelling their eyes very big. If I say, are you choking? And you say, yeah, the choke. I don't need to help you because you can still breathe. You're still passing air. So I'll encourage you, keep coughing. But if I say, are you choking? And you go, then I need to take action. At that point, I need to get behind you, find your navel.
Yeah.
Find your navel. Take 2 fingers, put it on top of the navel, make a fist like this, bring it over. Now you are around the patient. So find the navel, this, then you bring this one on top, and what you want to do is go in and up.
in and up.
In and up. In and up. You will do that until the patient becomes unconscious, or it brings up the object and they start to breathe again. If they become unconscious, you need to get them on the ground as quick as possible and start CPR.
Okay. So here's the thing. There is official CPR training that you can do. And
Yes.
you can learn how to do these techniques in its entirety. That entails a lot more than what we're saying right now. I want to be clear.
That's
this
right.
is not the full training, but this is simply what you can do if someone is in cardiac arrest and you are around to assist. No other trained person is around. The help hasn't arrived as yet. This is how you keep their life going in the meantime.
Well,
Am I
and you're
accurate?
perfectly correct. American Heart endorses hands-only CPR because anybody can do it.
All right.
Until the real help comes and they will take it in another angle or a different level.
Yeah.
But if you don't start the basics, nothing will work.
You are lessening the chances of surviving.
That's right.
One thing we didn't say, can you do it on a bed?
Yes, American Heart, and okay, let me make this crystal clear.
Yeah.
It is not okay but it's best to start even if you're there
So
until you can do otherwise.
So what I hear from you is urgency.
That's right.
It's a matter of not trying to think if
you don't have one, you can. If you don't have, okay. What we would recommend is you get a hard piece of board and put it under them. But what if you don't have it? What do you do?
Yeah.
Okay. What if the ground is full of mortar? There's ants and everything on the ground. How are you going to do it?
Just do it.
So just do it until you can do otherwise.
Okay.
It's not the best option, but here the word is until you can do otherwise as quick as possible. But start. Urgency is what counts.
All right.
Yep.
So we're going to try it?
Well,
you're going to show us the baby one?
Okay.
Let me do the adult first, right? Okay. So we've decided that we'll do the shifter roles because naturally they want me to do the baby. But I'll do the adult and then Gavin is going to show how to do the baby.
Okay,
right?
go ahead.
Okay. So we're going to go down on our knees.
Make sure the nipple line is running directly in the center of your body.
Okay.
Make sure your legs is about 6 inches abreast. And then go ahead and put your whichever hand makes you better. If you have on a watch or anything like that, it's best to take it off. Okay. Because then you don't want to be, I broke my watch, so I now push down hard. But it's best to do it the right way.
Take anything off that is distracting.
Yeah.
All right, good. Good.
Okay, and then you want to lean over and get as close as possible to the patient.
All right.
So let's bring this mannequin a little bit closer to you.
Bring them?
That's right.
Because I'm short.
And straight down, and make sure your arms is and you want to go straight down without without shaking your head all over the place. Yeah. All right, just straight down. And you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and you go at a rate up you go to 100 to 120 times per minute.
Per minute, yeah.
Yeah.
So this would be slow.
No, that's perfect. That's okay. Remember that if you go too fast, good job, Marlene.
Okay.
Remember that if you do this, if you're pushing down and this is what you're doing, it's too slow for blood and the blood to go to the brain, which carries oxygen and sugar. Okay. And so it'll go slow. But if you go too fast, you're doing this. You're not giving the heart chambers to open to get full with blood for it to squeeze out to push it around again. Okay. So if you go at that rate, 1, 2, like you were going, that's perfect because the heart is opening, blood is rushing in and it's squeezing it out all over and it goes continuous flow. So you're doing an excellent rate. Yeah. Okay. Gavin, if you'd like to try, go ahead.
We got to do the
Don't
baby.
Be shy.
We want to learn baby. So you're going to talk him through baby.
Okay.
Because this is every parent's worst nightmare and I'm sure that helplessness would...
Okay, for a baby, some of the things for a baby is normally, like I mentioned, a baby does not suffer from cardiac problems. There's normally respiratory problems. So what are the signs that you would see? You'll see around their mouth, first of all, starts to look blue. If you do not hear the baby crying, that means there's something going on.
So you see the signs of distress, but you're not hearing.
That's right. Yeah. All right. And what you want to do then is you want to come and people will say tickle the baby. I'm not a fan of that. I'm into slapping the baby under the foot bottom. When you hit them there, they don't like it, so they start to cry. If they don't cry, and you look at them and you open the airway and they're not breathing, then you need to start chest compressions. Okay. We do chest compression with 2 fingers. Again, it's the same thing. Nipple line, chest, nipple line. 2 fingers goes in the center of the chest and you want to go down. Okay. All right? You do not do hands-only CPR for babies. Yeah. You need to do the entire process.
Okay, what's the age that you're saying? Up to what age?
Okay, American Heart has a guideline that says adult is, okay, let me go over. 0 to 1 year is a baby. Okay. Puberty to 1 year old is considered a child. Okay. And anything after puberty is considered an adult. So treat them as an adult.
So the 2 fingers is for baby. Babies. What do you do for child?
For child, 1 hand.
1 hand.
Yeah, for child, 1 hand. Sorry, I don't mean to put my hand.
Like that.
But a child and an adult gets the same type of CPR. Okay. Except that you will use 1 hand, unless the baby bigger than you, Gavin, or the child is bigger than you, obese, then you want to use 2 hands. Or you get tired with 1 hand, then you use both hands. Okay. Okay, good point, Marlene.
So baby.
So now for the baby, you want to use your 2 fingers. Let's go. So here we are. Hey, are you okay? Help! And then you want to check for a pulse. Where would you check for a pulse for a baby? This is a little more complex than the adult, right? Yeah. So you want to check, there's a pulse from here to your armpit, and it's called the brachial pulse, right about here. On yourself, on an adult, we won't find it because we develop muscles. But on a baby, it will always be here. So it's right about here. You check for a pulse, and you check for about 10 seconds. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very important point. Don't do this. Don't check for a pulse with two hands.
Don't squeeze.
Don't use your thumbs. I always tell people on my Facebook page, I say ABC Life Support is my Facebook page. ABC Life Support BZ. These are the two fingers you use to check for anybody's pulse. Don't ever put your thumb in combination with them because there's a pulse in your thumb. Okay, so you want to touch this and you took for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we're actually talking about literally seconds. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, it's literal seconds. If there's no pulse, at that point, we're hoping somebody will be coming. You tell them, hey, call Bert. Tell them bring the machine for the baby. And then they want to know what to do. And what you will do at that time is prolong life until they come.
Okay.
Remember, you can be doing CPR and the baby might recover.
Yeah.
Because they don't suffer from cardiac problems.
Yeah.
So when you do your 30 compression, you give 2 breaths.
2 breaths, okay.
And once the chest, how do you know you're giving enough? Because you just want to see the chest go up. Even if it goes up just a little bit, that's enough.
Okay.
You don't want to burst. Because that too much, you'll burst the baby. You can damage the baby, and if you have anything in the stomach, it might go into the baby lungs and create aspiration, and then create problems for you. So be gentle with that.
So this one isn't hands only.
This includes baby. For babies, it's always you have to give breaths. Okay. After you give your 2 breaths, you get back and you start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 28, 29, 30, and you process continue back and forth.
30,
and it is still 30 compression and 2 breaths.
Okay.
If you come to help him, then it becomes 15 compressions and 2 breaths. The reason for that is why. Let me see if you can figure it out.
Because I will be less tired than he is and breathe harder.
No, but Gavin knows what he's not thinking. Why? It's because the baby does not suffer from
the cardiac.
So the quicker you give them breaths, the better for them.
The quicker.
Yeah, the quickness of giving breaths is better for them. That's why you go to 30 and 2. At that point, you'll be doing this. 2 fingers below the nipple line, just on the nipple line, between the 2 fingers, between the nipple line, just on the nipple line, sorry. And you go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 13, 14, 15, and then Marlene would give breaths. 1, 2, and then Gavin goes again. 1, and that process continue until the professional comes in.
There's more than one person, you help
switch
each other.
to 15 to 2, yeah. It's always important.
More breath.
Because you want to get the breath in as much as possible.
That's right. It's important that whenever you have 2-person help working, it's always best.
All right.
Let's see your
So you don't have to give breaths, Gavin, but you can.
So, but the first thing is I would check.
That's right.
There.
All right. So
and you need to be aggressive with like, hey, what's up?
So really.
Yeah.
Then you want to check the pulse. Check if
you
there's a
shout
pulse.
For help immediately. Help! And then check for a pulse.
For a pulse using these 2 fingers.
For about 5 to 10 seconds.
Then you start right in the chest. In the middle, in between the nipples, and then you start your compressions with your.
Okay, so you want to be that same process, directly over, and keep your 2 fingers, and you go straight up and down.
Right in front of you, laying down flat, and you want to start 1, 2,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And then 29,
30,
and then
you
you
give
take
2
your
breaths.
2 breaths, and then you start over.
That's right, and the process continues.
I saw you doing the 2-thumb one. Is that easier?
I think that's
no. The 2-thumb is only if somebody come to help you.
Okay.
Exclusively.
Okay.
All right.
And in that case, I would be in front of the baby like this.
That's right. And then Marlene would be at the head.
Doing every 15.
Okay.
Okay. I know this is not easy, but it's
life-saving.
No. I know that this is not easy, but it's something you want to think about. People are saying, but you need to pinch the baby nose. Well, listen to me. Your mouth bigger than the baby nose and the mouth.
Yeah.
So you want to put your mouth over both the nose and the mouth. For an adult, for an adult, you can pinch the nose. But for a baby, no,
yeah,
no,
but
it's
we
a
didn't
no-go.
teach breath techniques
No,
for the
breath techniques, that's because a different class. That's a different class altogether. Yeah. Choking for the baby, real quick, because again, I've seen babies choking, and I've always been around. I don't know why. I'm like, either bad luck or good luck where I have to help people.
The parents are lucky.
Babies choke off water, they choke off food, they choke off breast milk, they choke everything. If a baby is choking, what do you want to do? Well, basically, you want to establish that they're choking. You look at them, mom will say, hey, my baby is not breathing, or my baby's choking. Take the baby, put your hands like this on the baby's face. Get the baby's legs apart and get the baby right here. And keep the head down because you want gravity to take place. Yeah. And you will hit this baby 5 times going down like that. Not straight down, but like that, because you want to force the air going that way. So it's 1, 2, between the shoulder blades, not in the lower back. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You stretch your hand over, get the baby over in the quickest route possible. Same thing again, and you do chest compression. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you rotate again, and the process continues until the baby becomes, until the baby bring up the object, or until the baby starts to cry. Okay. If the baby does not cry, what do you do? CPR. Start CPR. Help!
That's a loud help.
All right?
And breath.
And breaths, and you back and forth.
With the baby, you want to give breath.
That's right, all the time.
Okay.
Okay?
I think it's a scenario no one wants to think of. And that's, you know, I'm watching you manipulate a fake baby, and I'm thinking what it must be like if it's a real baby. That's going to be the most scariest thing.
And you have a very good point on that, because one of the things I always encourage people, if you start to panic, then everything goes haywire. So you need to be calm. But how do we remain calm? And I point back to training. Get some kind of training. Even if you know just the basics, that is what counts, because that is what will help you. But if you're not trained in any aspect at all, then you'll have a difficult time. Okay?
Okay. Well, Javier, thank you once again. ABC Life Support Belize is on Facebook.
That's right.
People can get in touch there. I know you share tips, and also you can contact him about doing some of the trainings that he offers as well.
That's right.
Gavin, you can prolong the life of a baby now after this conversation. But it's absolutely, like I said, we don't want to be caught in a situation, but at least if it does happen, we know what to do. So.
Can I just say one thing quick?
Sure.
ABC Life Support is looking for sponsors because we want to train anybody. We want to train the police, we want to train the scouts, we want to train anybody. So if any sponsor is out there who think that they can donate something for us to train a group of people, it doesn't matter who they are. We're looking for sponsors. Reach me at 615-5757.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, too. We're going to go ahead and take our final break. When we come back, we'll have our wrap-up, so stay tuned.